Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Kavita Kabade, Assistant Professor in Department of Gynec. Today, we are going to discuss a very important topic, menstrual hygiene. So today, we are going to talk about the things that nobody wants to talk. So as we all know, adolescence, though it is an exciting period, but still it is a most confusing period in the adolescent period in the young people, because commonly in homes or at schools, the things incomplete information is given about the routine adolescent changes that a girl or boy has to go. So the periods are a very important part in a girl's life. So when they don't learn from about their bodies, then they are ill equipped to take care of their well-being also. So the silence and the stigma around the periods makes it difficult for the young girls to grow into the confident and healthy woman. As we all know, 52% of the women worldwide are in the reproductive age group. That means most of them menstruate monthly. Still, majority of them are not in a condition to take care of their menstruation in a hygienic manner. So now the UNICEF has mainly introduced a vision. The vision of the UNICEF is to educate the importance of the menstrual hygiene, to provide the social support that is required to reinforce and promote the menstrual hygiene, accessibility to the facilities and the services, as well as to fulfill the demand. So to make sure the adequate supply is there. So now today, we are basically going to discuss four different things. What is menstrual hygiene? Why we should educate menstrual hygiene, how we can attain menstrual hygiene, and what are the taboos. So the facts and myths we'll be discussing today. So let us start with the first thing about the menstruation. So basically, what is menstruation? Menstruation is nothing but a monthly occurrence when the blood as well as the tissues from the uterus is shed out of the vagina. So basically, periods are a way of the body to renew itself and maintain the ability to get pregnant. So every month, the menstrual cycles prepares the body for pregnancy. So if it does not occur, the period will. Period is nothing but just the shedding of the tissue, so that again it is preparing or it is renewing itself. So the menstrual cycle, that menstrual cycle, the term is used. So what is the cycle? It basically begins from the first day of the period. So when the period starts, that is known as the day one. So that will be counted at first day and it ends till the start, day one of the next period. So the gap between is known as the menstrual cycle. So normally when we calculate a cycle, it should be from day one to the day one of the next cycle. The range is between 21 to 35 days. Not everybody will get the period every 28 days or every 30 days. So there is a range. So in this range, if the period is there, it is said to be normal. In early, when the girl gets its menses for the first time, so in the first 2 years, the cycle has to set. It is not only the uterus which is shedding, it is the coordination right from the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, ovarian, and uterine axis. All these 5 things have to be coordinated. So these coordination to set in a regular young woman takes around 2 years. So around 2 years, sometimes she'll get menses every 3 weekly, or sometimes even after 45 days. So this range, 21 to 45 days, is considered normal for the first 2 years after the periods begin. So now, how does the cycle work? Why menstruation occurs? So what happens is, as we know, the female reproductive tract, the internal organ, basically is the uterus. Okay. Then there is a vagina where the intercourse happens. The uterus is connected by the 2 fallopian tubes that you can see in the picture, and the ovary. Ovary is nothing but it is the place where tiny eggs are stored. So what happens is every month, okay, from the day 2nd or 3rd, because of the hormonal effect, the small eggs gets ready, and one of them will mature under the influence of hormone. So this maturity will take place in the ovary. Once the egg is mature, in the middle of the cycle, there is a term known as ovulation. This egg will be released from the ovary. It will come to the fallopian tube. Okay, you can see the tube. So every month from one ovary, like this month, if the right ovary is releasing the ovum, next month the left ovary will be releasing the ovum. So now if the right ovary has released that ovum, that one egg, it will come in the fallopian tube. There, when the intercourse will happen in the vagina, there will be sperm. The sperm has motility. So it will be motile, it will enter from the vagina through the cervix into the uterine cavity and into the fallopian tube. So there in the tube, the fertilization occurs. Fertilization is nothing but the meeting of the ovum with the sperm. So once this single ovum is fertilized with a single sperm, there is a formation of an embryo. And this, then it will pass from the tube into the uterus. And now the uterus lining should be adequate so that this fertilized ovum gets stuck into the uterus, which is known as implantation. So now this implantation will happen. So if the lining is inadequate, this implantation will fail, even if the fertilization is happening. So to make the uterus ready for the to accept the pregnancy, this changes occur every month. So now once the implantation will take place, what will happen is now the uterus has to take care of this pregnancy. So endometrium will start giving nutrition to the baby. So the menstruation stops during the pregnancy. Suppose if this fertilization doesn't happen, then what will happen is the ovum has a life span of 1 to 2 days, 24 to 48 hours. After that, if the fertilization is not happening, this ovum will get absorbed. And then after 2 weeks, the girl will have the menstruation. That is nothing but the shedding of the endometrial lining, so that again a new lining is prepared in the next month. Okay. So mostly what is a normal period? So before seeing abnormal, we should know what is normal. So as we have discussed, the cycle will last between 25 to 35 days. The duration of the bleeding might be in the range of 3 days to 7 days. It is normal till it is 7 days. The color, it is fresh red. Sometimes later on in the period or in the early, there can be brownish or pinkish in color also, because it is usually mixed with the secretions, which will give the pink color. Then it seems कि बहुत blood जा रहा है, the blood loss is very much. That is what the lady says. But actually, if you see, the blood loss is between 5 to 30 ml per day. Okay, that is about 3 to 5 regular sanitary pads or 2 to 3 tampons per day. Some discomfort or cramps in the lower abdomen during the period is normal. Okay, but it should not be so much that the girl or the lady is not able to go to work or not able to follow her regular routines. It is not that much. There may be some signs, which is also known as the PMS or the premenstrual symptoms. This is also normal. Some girls, before the menses, a week or 10 days before the menses, they have pimples or they have a bloating sensation, they have sore breast or sometimes irritability, okay, insomnia, sleep disturbances, sometimes even constipation. This is very common. Okay, this is nothing but the hormone effect. Okay, so once the ovulation occurs, the progesterone hormone is released, which will lead to all these things. So if you are having these things, it is absolutely normal, need not worry. And everyone experiences this sometime or the other in their lifetime. So, but not necessarily this cycle, if it happens, even the next cycle it should happen. It can be there. The frequency, the intensity can be different in each and every cycle. So now what is menstrual hygiene? So now we have seen why menses happen. Now we should see how we should regulate the menses or how we should maintain the hygiene. So the FIGO menstrual hygiene management, okay, MHM, it has been defined as the woman and adolescent girl should be using a clean menstrual management material to absorb or to collect the blood, which can be changed in privacy as often as necessary for the duration of the period, using soap and water for washing the body as required, and also having access to facilitate to dispose of used menstrual management materials. So basically, these 4 things are important. A clean period product to collect or absorb the blood. Then adequate private place should be provided, whether the lady is in school, whether at home, whether at working place. Private space so that she can change in, where adequate water and soap is there so that she can clean her hands as well as the private parts, and also a proper disposable facility to dispose of the used period products. So now, what are the different ways to manage the menstrual flow? 4 main things. Some people use the cloth pad. Commonly, which used in the school girls or college is the disposable pad, the tampons, and the menstrual cup. So one by one, we'll be seeing how to use it and what are the pros and cons of it. So the cloth pad, sometimes it has a sticky strip on the back by which the pad can be stuck to the underwear. Same applies to the disposable pad. If there is no sticky surface, just it can be held in place with the help of an undergarment. Then the tampon. The tampon, it is basically a small cotton ball-like thing, or cotton tube-like thing, which you have to insert in the vagina. So the hand should be washed thoroughly. The girl should be comfortable either in the squatting position or in a sitting position with the knees apart. The tampon should be unwrapped and it is introduced in the vagina, either with the help of the applicator or with the help of a finger. Then there is a menstrual cup. Okay, this is in this also same. You have to get comfortable, take position, wash your hands, and the cup, menstrual cup, should be squeezed, and it should be made thin, and then it should be introduced inside and then open up. So then it will have a negative suction effect, and it will be fitting on the cervix. So whatever blood will be coming through the os or through the cervix will be collecting in this cup. So how often should you change? The cloth pad usually, as it is non-absorbable, it doesn't have gel-like technology or nothing. So it has to be changed very frequently, 4 to 6 hours depending on the flow, depending on which day of the menses it is there. The pad and the tampon can be changed as required between a period of 6 to 8 hours. And cup also, it is usually advised that every 6 to 8 hours, you should remove it, clean it, and again reinsert it. So how to clean it? The cloth pad, if the person is using the cloth pad, once the period is done, it has to be soaked and washed thoroughly using soap and water after each use. Preferably, it should be dried in the sunlight, and then once it is dried, it has to be stored in a clean and dry place before the next use. Disposable pad and tampons, there is no cleaning. It just has to be disposed of, which we'll be discussing later. Then the cup. Cup also, I told you, you should empty the cup. The cup should be washed well with clean water, and again it can be reinserted. Once the period is over, then it has to be sterilized by boiling in water and stored in a clean dry place. And again, before using for the first time in that period, it has to be sterilized. So the dispose of, as you know, the disposable pad and tampons, which is commonly used, it has to be wrapped in a paper, in a newspaper, thoroughly wrapped, and then it has to be put in a dustbin. Never you have to flush the pad, okay? The cloth pad, the life of the cloth pad is limited, approximately the 100 washes. Once that is done, you have to dispose it off. Then the cup also, the cup usually has a life span of 2 years to 10 years, depending on which company or which brand you are using. So once its life cycle, whatever is given in the cup that you will bring, according to that, you have to use for that many years. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each one of it? So if you are using a cloth pad, the main thing is it is eco-friendly. It can be made at home. Okay. It is financially, it is less costly. It is reusable and it is comfortable. But the cons is that it is not leak proof. It doesn't have a gel technology where the liquid is converted into gel. So there can be leakages. It can require repeated washing and space for drying. And also if it is the same cloth is used, because there is constant wetness in that cloth, which you will be there in the perineal area, you can get rashes very commonly with the cloth pad. The disposable pad, it is widely available and it is very comfortable. The only thing is financial burden can be there because you have to use every new pad, 3 to 4 pads per day. So financial constraints can be there for some people. But this is, it is again, pad also, it is not completely leak proof, but definitely better than the cloth. Single use only. It is not eco-friendly. Though nowadays composable pads are also getting available, and it can also cause rashes if it is worn for too long time. Then the tampons are very comfortable and it is leak proof. So the only disadvantage is it is also of single use, not eco-friendly, and it can also cause serious infection if it is worn for too long. So it has to be changed very frequently. Same with the cup. The cup is like it is very eco-friendly. It is financially also very good because once you buy it, you can use for 2 to 10 years. It is reusable. The only disadvantage is the sterilization should be maintained. Every time you have to, before using and after using, you have to sterilize it. And if sometimes it is like you have to undergo training. Not every time, like if you use and you can insert it in vagina. So some amount of little training is required. And then it can cause serious infection if also it is worn for more than 12 hours. So now, is the menstrual blood dirty? No, it is not bad. It is not dirty. It is just like the blood that we get even if we have a cut in a finger or wherever. So the blood is one and the same. Okay, so there is no dirty blood. So it can definitely it can be messy sometimes. So it can stain the clothes. It can stain the underwear or the bedding. So to clean, what you have to do is every 4 to 6 hours, you have to use the washroom, clean the genitals, the surrounding area. And if you notice a stain, immediately you have to clean it with cold water and soap. And you have to always wash your hands once you are once you are touching the blood. So now why it is important? It is important is because if it is not managed properly, the mental as well as the physical health of the menstruators may suffer. So now how you can take care of the thing? You have to stay hydrated. Okay, enough water. Why? Because there is some ongoing blood loss. So you can have little weakness, giddiness. So at least 2 to 3 liters of water per day. Good balanced diet should be taken. Okay, so especially fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains should be included. That is for every day. Okay, so that you have no weakness during your menses. Sleep, adequate sleep is required, at least for 8 hours per night. Meditation. So if you are having any stressful condition, make a habit to regularly do meditation. Okay, yoga. You can even do sports or any hobby. Even that is a stress buster. And exercise. Light to moderate exercise can be done on a regular basis. So now we are discussing all these things because the main thing that can happen is infection and irritation. So the local skin irritation, which is very common because if the products are not changed properly, if the area is kept wet for a long time, it can cause skin irritation, skin rashes. And later on, what happens is if the products are inserted in the vagina, especially tampons and cup, if it is not clean, maintained, then it can lead to infections. So that's why using clean products are recommended. Tampons, even if there is a very light period, preferably don't use tampons because then it can absorb even the regular secretions and it can cause dryness and itching in the vagina. Then the area when you are wiping, it should be always wiped from the front to the back direction, never from back to the front. Because in the back there is the anus, so the stools are there. So that is very unhygienic area. If you clean like that way, you are introducing the infection in the vagina. So it should always be from the front to the back area. After handling blood and blood products, you have to always wash hands with soap. Then usually it is very, you can see in the ads also that douching or fragrant vaginal products are promoted. Absolutely not recommended because it will alter the normal flora of the area and it will lead to more infection and irritation. Only cleaning the genitals with plain warm water or regular water is advised. Sometimes what happens is if you don't know all these things or if these things are not discussed, then most girls what happen during their menses, they skip their school and colleges and so many times from their work also. So this was how to manage the menstrual hygiene. Now the social support, which is most important. Cultural taboos, poverty, and lack of basic services like toilets and sanitary products can all cause menstrual hygiene needs to be unmet. So social support is equally important. There are many myths and taboos around this menstruation, which will lead to the female of the insecurity. The insecurity will come to that girl, and also it will promote gender inequalities. So today we are going to break all the taboos. So the common myth that is said is that a menstruating woman is impure, sick, or even cursed. Still, it is there in a very rural area. So nothing like that. As I've told you, the menstruating woman is not impure. It is a healthy body process. It is a natural physiological process. So it is just a mixture of blood and the tissue. Okay. So absolutely nothing is impure. Nothing is sick. The person is not sick. It is just the routine that is going on. Every day are the cells of the body, everywhere, all the cells of the body are shedding off. Okay. So even the hair shed off. So that is not abnormal. Same as with the menstruation. The second myth is that a menstruation woman cannot offer prayers, take part in the ceremonies, or you should not touch any sacred object or enter a place of worship. So it is not that it is impure, but just you can follow these practices for respecting the religious sentiments of others. But otherwise, there is no such truth behind this thing. The other thing is that the woman should not cook food or even enter the kitchen because if she touches some food items, it will get spoiled. Even pickles or everything, if she touches, it will get spoiled. Nothing like that. In general, before, in the past, there was no cleaning, soaps were not available, proper pads were not available. So this was done so that the cleanliness is maintained, so that she's touching the blood. If she's not washing the hand, then it can be there. But nowadays, because we have goods, everything is available, good facilities are available. Definitely, if you maintain a menstrual hygiene, this shouldn't be a problem. Then it is also said that after the girl gets her first menstruation, any kind of physical contact with a boy can get her pregnant. So it doesn't occur through casual physical contact like touching, hugging, or kissing. But definitely it will happen if the girl is having unprotected sexual intercourse. Also, there is a myth that she shouldn't bath during the period, otherwise she'll become infertile. She should stay away from the flowing water. She should not wash her hands during the first day of the period. Absolutely, this is not to be followed. Washing and bathing are essential to keep yourself clean and free from infections during the period. Myth is don't be around others, sleep outside. Sometimes that woman they used to have a separate room for those women so that she'll sit there only for the 5 days. She couldn't attend any religious function or celebrations. She cannot go in front of the baby. She cannot touch the babies or pregnant women. So nothing like that. It is a natural and healthy part. So the periods, the blood can never harm anybody. If the only thing is the hygiene has to be maintained. The accessibility and supplies. Now, basically, the poverty and lack of basic services like toilet and sanitary pads can cause it to be unmet. So now, many menstruators struggle to afford the period products. The cost of the product, along with the underwear, the soap, medication for pain, all these adds to the financial burden. So the problem of access and affordability is commonly known as the period poverty. So in 2018, our Indian government has scrapped the GST on the periods product. There is a menstrual hygiene scheme, MHS. It was initially implemented in 2011 in 117 selected districts in 17 states, where a pack of 6 oxo-biodegradable sanitary napkins, which was known as 3 days. Okay, so that was provided to the rural adolescent girl for only 6 rupees. So this is the thing that was introduced. So as we have discussed now, menstrual hygiene is a necessity. It is not a luxury. So it is a necessity for each and every girl. So there should be the main thing that is the availability of a MHHM friendly toilet. So the toilet which has to be provided, you should ensure that the toilet door can be locked. The toilet should have a sanitary napkin vending machine preferably. It should be properly ventilated, and the light should be adequate. Water should be available freely, and the soap, hand wash material should be available. Then even suppose if the girl is disabled or handicapped, then there can be grab bars, so that she can take care of herself. Then a dustbin should be there in each and every bathroom, so that to dispose of the sanitary pads in private, and a bucket and basin should be there in the girls' toilet. So all these things are basic, and our government makes sure that all the girls, all the schools are equipped with all these things. So now the basic, to round up the topic, you have to improve your health, practice hygiene regularly. All the regular things should be done. You have to move your body. You have to have a healthy diet, meditate, take adequate sleep, adequate hydration. Choose what is right for you, what suits you better. You have to know yourself. You have to know your body, what is it, and you have to be confident. Yes, I can take care of myself. And if required, there is always a gynec around you. So consult a doctor wherever it is required. Thank you.